hey, I wanted to get in here and come on in so we could talk about our future. Our future is determined by the way we think. In the Bible, it talks about, as a man thinketh, so is he. And then it talks about the fruit that's bared by a person. Then it talks about the renewing of your mind. We're transformed by the renewing of our mind. So if we want to change the trajectory of our future, we have to change the way we think. We have to change the way we produce things, our fruit. And we have to change our minds, continue to change our minds. We must do that. We must continue to change our minds. And think positive. That's something that we must do. And in addition to that, we really need to position ourselves to be around individuals a little bit more. Because sometimes we think we're wanting to do something, and that's not really what it is. It sounds good. But when you operate with a mentor, they move a certain way. You sit at the table, they talk a certain way. You go out to eat with them, they handle themselves a certain way. You go into a meeting room, sometimes they're the quietest person in the room and everybody's looking at them. To me, sometimes the quietest person in the room is the most powerful person in the room. The person that does not say much, everybody's waiting on them to answer a question. So, and I also pay attention to how people react when a person comes into the room. And there's a certain reaction that people have when a powerful person moves through a room. So that's something that we should probably look at when we're trying to determine how we're going to move into our highest and best self. One thing that I'm working on is a vision board. And I'm making a list. I'm writing down my vision and I'm making it plain. So, like I said, the Bible said me and might run with it. And it's Habakkuk 2:2. And the vision board helps you to see things and it gets into your mind. And to me, I had something that I was looking at and it seemed like I started seeing that thing everywhere. And I feel like it was attracted to me. And so I just anticipated it happening for me at any moment. But anyway, get your vision board, start writing your stuff down, and things will start happening. You'll start, if it's nothing else for me, like I started just seeing this thing a lot. You really also want to be careful who you allow to hear your dreams. You really do. Some people, they'll be like, oh, well, I didn't even know you were thinking about that. Well, I know. I just know. And I just felt like speaking to certain people, it encouraged me. And some people you just don't speak to because sometimes you don't even feel like they are really interested or really care. So you just try to keep the conversation light. But for those that do care, and for those that are encouraging, and for those who are your dream feeders, as I would like to call them, those are the ones that you speak to and express to them your dreams and your aspirations. Because when they give constructive criticism, like I said in Dream Feeders, they never make you feel small. They make you think. And most of the time, they never make a decision for you. the decision is usually made by you. They put it out there as a question saying, so what do you think about that? And it's kind of like a form of constructive criticism. Because when you think about that thing and you reevaluate that situation, you might still stick with your decision or you might change it. And if you stick with your decision, and if this person really cares about you, you will be able to explain to them why you decided to stick with it or why you chose to change and switch it around. Future is something to me that is dynamic because our futures change like every day, every moment, every day we're living. We can change our mind and change our life. Everything is just a thought away. Like the next invention, the next $1 million or trillion, $1 billion invention is just a thought away. So that thought will change the trajectory of that individual's life and possibly generations to come. So that's how important it is for you to think a certain way when you're thinking about your future. It is also very important for you to see fruit when you are thinking a certain way. So you think something and you bring it into play, action, and then you see the results of it. So that's very important. Also, during the process of evaluating different things, it is very important for you to move sometimes and change your mind because we're transformed by the renewing of our minds. So transformation is dynamic too, just like the future. And you also want to make sure that you're sitting at the dinner table with your mentor. Because some people say, oh, I'm going to go and visit with my mentor and I'm just going to sit in their office for 30 minutes. No, your true authentic mentor should be someone that you can go to their house and eat dinner. Like someone I know, they said, I would have never known certain things unless I was sitting at the table with my uncle or with my dad. And that's how I actually learned how to operate in a business. It wasn't going to the store and watching them all the time. Of course, they learned hands-on and they learned how to move and do things. But sitting at the table, going to the golf course, attending the meeting, watching how your mentor moves in the meeting, how they talk, how they speak, how humble they are. They know the power in which they hold, so they are very careful with how they handle their power. Because it seems like the worst thing that a mentor could do is to have power to manipulate and do the wrong things. I'll leave it at that. So a strong mentor or a very, very wise person would move in a room with caution. And most of the time, someone seeing them is louder than someone hearing them. I'm going to say that one more time. When a person is powerful in the room, someone seeing them is much more powerful than someone hearing them. And that's the type of mentor that I think, or mentors, we should have. I have mentors that I look up to, and I like to eat lunch with them. I like to visit with them. I like for them to visit with me. I like to go to the grocery store with them. I like to go to participate in activities with them because I like to see how they move. I love it. I love it. The way they move is almost like an art and a science. They know how to walk into a room and don't say much but make everybody feel good. That's smooth. Don't say much but make everybody feel good. Smile. And when I don't say much, it's more of, how is your mother doing? How is your father doing? How is your siblings doing? And then calling them by their names. To me, that's how you create relationships, because you're talking and you're calling out names, and those people say, oh, I didn't even know that Miss So-and-so knew my granddaughter's name, or Mr. So-and-so knew my nephew's name. I would have never known. But that's what a mentor does. When they're moving through the room, they're not saying much, but they're saying a lot with their presence. And then another thing I've noticed with mentors, people are trying to get to them and talk to them. They're in a room and it's like they attract people. My mentors, when they walk in a room, they attract people. And they're impeccable with their kindness. It's just, oh my goodness. Their kindness is off the charts. And again, they don't even be saying much, but they make everybody feel good. They make everybody feel good. Just going to the grocery store, just going to maybe watching them do some business. The way they handle themselves it just shocks me. And then I feel privileged that I am able to be around that. And some of them I've been around since I was born. So a mentor will show you how to move, how to live, how to treat people, how to talk to people. A lot of things start at the table at home. Then it'll go from the table to actually in the business. Then it'll go from in the business to the boardrooms, to looking at the books and doing different things. That's what a mentor does. So when I say mentor, you want to be engaged with this person past sitting in a room and talking to them about something. Because I've learned the most from my mentors by just eating at the table. I've learned a lot. So, just to sum this up, we're talking about our future. Our futures are very important. So much more important than our last. Because the Bible says our latter days will be better than our first. So the past, okay, it's there. And another thing with your past, a lot of things you have to let go. A lot of things you have to count it as a loss, because those things will hinder you from your future. You have to count some things as a loss. You don't need to be holding in resentment and hurt and pain and anger. Those things are not fruitful. You want to have peace and joy and happiness. And you want to think those things. As a man thinketh, so is he. And people determine things about us by the fruit that we bear. And you bear fruit based upon how you think. Again, you're changed by the renewing of your mind. The future is dynamic. So the way you think is dynamic. It has to change. And not only that, I'm going to wrap this up. This is your future. This is your future and my future. So let's have good mentors, and let's start doing our vision boards, and let's start writing down our vision and making it plain. And let's remember to let go of the past. And a lot of things we just have to let go of so we can have a very bright future. And remember that the best is yet to come. And it's stated in the Bible, your latter days will be better than your first. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate each and every last one of you for listening to me and coming to me and telling me, oh, Netabelle, you are really, really blessing me. And thank you for encouraging me. I really appreciate you. So, just in case you see somebody and you don't really feel like you should feel, why don't you just smile and tell them hi and wish them to have a very wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. So, thanks again for tuning in. Please subscribe. Have a lovely, lovely day, evening, and night. Take care.